Kim Tae-ho was tired. His body was heavy with exhaustion. He had worked for 12 hours straight on the Hanyul station. The station floated in space, far from Earth. It was humanity's first joint outpost, with an alien species called the Velans. Tae-ho was a lieutenant in the Earth Space Corps. He was 32 years old. He had a kind face and gentle eyes. His mother always said he had an old soul. He missed her cooking. He missed his small apartment in Seoul, but he had signed up for this mission because he believed in building bridges between species. The Velans had arrived on Earth 5 years ago. They were tall and beautiful in a strange way. Their skin was silver like polished metal. Glowing patterns moved across their bodies like living artwork. They were very advanced. Their technology was thousands of years ahead of humanity, but they were also cold. They never smiled. They never laughed. They spoke in flat voices with no emotion. Tae-ho walked into his small room and removed his uniform jacket. The room was simple. A bed, a desk, a small window that showed the endless stars. He sat on the bed and rubbed his tired eyes. In 10 minutes, he would be asleep. He was sure of it. Then his door opened. Tae-ho jumped up from the bed. His heart beat fast. The doors on the station needed permission to open. Someone had overridden the system. A figure stood in the doorway. The light from the corridor made her glow. She was tall, almost 2 meters. Her skin was silver, and blue patterns pulsed across her body like gentle waves. She had no hair. Her eyes were large and completely black, like deep pools of space. She was naked. Tae-ho's face turned red. He looked away quickly. "What are you doing?" he shouted. "This is my private room." The alien woman stepped inside. The door closed behind her. She walked with purpose, like a soldier on a mission. She did not seem embarrassed about her lack of clothes. In fact, she seemed to not understand why he was embarrassed. "Human male," she said. Her voice was flat and cold. "You are Lieutenant Kim Tae-ho. Psychological profile indicates high empathic capacity. Physical health is excellent. You are suitable." "Suitable for what?" Tae-ho asked. He kept his eyes on the wall. His heart was still racing. "You will satisfy me," she said. Now Tae-ho felt his whole body freeze. He had heard stories about aliens. Wild stories. He never believed them. But here was an alien woman, naked in his room, saying these words. "I think there has been a mistake," he said carefully. "I do not know you. You cannot just enter my room and demand things." The alien tilted her head. The gesture was strange, like she was studying an interesting insect. "I am Commander Lyra of the Velan delegation," she said. "I have the authority to enter any room on this station. Time is short. You will satisfy me." "Listen," Tae-ho said. He finally looked at her, trying to keep his eyes on her face. "I am a human. We do not do things this way. We have customs, rules. You cannot just walk in here and order me to do anything." Lyra did not seem angry. She did not seem frustrated. She simply reached behind her back and pulled out a small device. It was a crystal that glowed with soft purple light. She held it toward him. "Perhaps I have communicated poorly," she said. "Human language is limited. Let me explain more clearly." She pressed the crystal. Suddenly, images filled Tae-ho's mind. He saw a planet of silver towers and glass cities. He saw millions of Velans walking through the streets. Then he saw them falling, dying, their silver skin turning gray and crumbling like old paper. Bodies everywhere. Children crying without tears because Velans did not know how to cry. The vision ended. Tae-ho was breathing hard. He sat down on the bed because his legs felt weak. "What was that?" he whispered. "That is my world in 10 years, Lyra said. "Unless you help us." Tae-ho looked at her differently now. He saw something he had not seen before in any Velan. Behind her cold mask, behind her flat voice, there was something like fear. It was small and hidden, but it was there. "A plague is killing us," Lyra continued. "We have studied it for 50 years. Our greatest scientists cannot cure it. We have tried everything. Medicine, technology, genetic modification. Nothing works." "I am sorry," Tae-ho said. But I am just a lieutenant. I am not a doctor or a scientist. How can I help you? Lyra sat down on the floor. The movement surprised Taeho. It made her seem less like a commander and more like a tired person. Long ago, my species made a choice, she said. We decided that emotions were inefficient. They caused war, jealousy, and pain. So we engineered them away. We removed the parts of our brain that created feelings. For 10,000 years, we lived in perfect logic and order. That sounds peaceful, Taeho said. It was empty, Lyra replied. But we did not know it was empty because we could not feel the emptiness. Now, the universe is punishing us for our choice. Our bodies are dying because they have forgotten something important. Something that emotions used to give us. She looked at him with those deep black eyes. Your species has a chemical, she said. Your scientists call it different names. We call it calith. It is produced when humans feel strong emotions. Love, joy, grief, connection. This chemical is the cure for our plague, but we cannot make it ourselves. We have tried to synthesize it in laboratories. It does not work. It must be natural. It must come from a real emotional bond. Taeho began to understand. When you said satisfy, he said slowly, you did not mean what I thought you meant. I do not know what you thought I meant, Lyra said. I meant that you must teach me to feel. You must create an emotional bond with me. You must help me produce calith in my own body. If you can do this, you will satisfy my need. You will save my people. Taeho was quiet for a long time. The weight of her words pressed down on him. An entire species was dying. Billions of lives depended on something he had always taken for granted. The ability to feel. Why me? He asked. There are many humans on this station. Some are more important than me. Why did you choose me? Lyra stood up. Her patterns pulsed faster for a moment. I read every psychological profile on this station, she said. Most humans hide their emotions. They build walls. They protect themselves. Your profile is different. You cry at sad movies. You call your mother every week. You kept your grandmother's photograph even though storage space is limited. You feel deeply and openly. You are not ashamed of your heart. She walked toward the door. Then she stopped and looked back at him. I have removed my bioarmor to stand before you, she said. In Velen culture, this means I trust you completely. I am vulnerable. I am asking for help. Taeho understood now why she was naked. It was not about bodies. It was about trust. She had removed all her defenses to show him that she was sincere. I need time to think, he said.
Ow.
You have until tomorrow, Lyra replied. Then I must report to my council. They have less pleasant methods of obtaining calith. I came to you first because I hoped for a better way. She left. The door closed behind her. Taeho sat alone in his room, staring at the stars. Somewhere out there, a species was dying, and they believed he, a simple man from Seoul who missed his mother's cooking, might be their only hope. He did not sleep that night. The next morning, Taeho found Lyra waiting outside his door. She wore her bioarmor now. It was a smooth silver suit that covered her from neck to feet. She looked like a warrior. Cold and powerful, have you decided? She asked. Taeho nodded. He had spent the whole night thinking. He remembered his grandmother. She used to say that helping others was the highest purpose of life. She said that a person who could help but chose not to was worse than a person who could not help at all. I will try, he said, but I make no promises. I do not know if this will work. Neither do I, Lyra said. 15 humans have tried before you. All of them failed. 15. Taeho felt a chill run through him. What happened to them? They are alive. They simply could not create a bond with us. Our minds are too different. Our cultures are too far apart. After weeks of trying, they gave up. Lyra paused. Some of them cried when they failed. We did not understand why they leaked water from their eyes. It seemed inefficient. Taeho almost smiled. Almost. Those are called tears, he said. Humans cry when they feel strong emotions. It is not inefficient. It is healing. I do not understand, Lyra said. That is why you need my help, Tejo replied. They walked together through the station. Other humans stared at them. It was unusual to see a Velen walking beside a human. The two species worked together, but they did not spend time together. The Velens preferred to stay in their own section of the station. They found human behavior confusing and sometimes disturbing. Lyra led Tejo to a special room. It was large and empty. The walls were white. There were two chairs facing each other. This is the bonding room, Lyra explained. Previous attempts happened here. The humans would talk to the Velen subject. They would share stories, show pictures, play music. Nothing worked. Tejo looked around the room. It felt sterile, dead, like a hospital without patients. This room is the problem, he said. Lyra tilted her head. Explain. Emotions do not grow in empty rooms, Tejo said. They grow in kitchens where families cook together. They grow in parks where children play. They grow in messy, lived-in spaces full of memories. We do not have such spaces, Lyra said. Velen living areas are designed for maximum efficiency. Then we will make one, Tejo said. Over the next 3 days, Tejo transformed a small storage room into something that looked like a home. He brought a small cooking unit from the human section. He hung pictures on the walls, pictures of Earth, mountains and oceans, cities and villages. He brought plants from the station's garden. He found an old speaker and connected it to his music collection. Lyra watched him work with confusion. This is inefficient, she said. These objects serve no practical purpose. They serve an emotional purpose, Tejo replied. When I look at that picture of the ocean, I remember the time my father took me fishing. I was 10 years old. I caught my first fish. My father was so proud. He picked me up and spun me around. I can still feel his arms around me when I look at that picture. The picture creates a memory response, Lyra said slowly. The memory creates an emotional response. Yes, Tejo smiled. You are learning. On the 4th day, their real work began. Tejo sat across from Lyra in the small room. A pot of water boiled on the cooking unit. The smell of spices filled the air. We are going to cook together, Tejo said. This is how my mother taught me about emotions. Through food. Velens do not eat for pleasure, Lyra said. We consume nutrients for survival. Today you will eat for pleasure, Tejo replied. He showed her how to cut vegetables. Her movements were precise and perfect. Too perfect. Like a machine. You were thinking too much, Tejo said. Cooking is not just about the food. It is about the experience. Talk to me while you cut. Tell me about your childhood. I do not have memories of childhood, Lyra said. Velens are born with full cognitive function. We do not have a developmental period like humans. Tejo felt a wave of sadness wash over him. No childhood, he said softly. No playing. No learning to walk. No parents holding your hand. Correct, Lyra said. These things are inefficient. These things are everything, Tejo replied. They are what make life worth living. Told her about his own childhood. He told her about playing in the streets of Seoul with his friends. About skinning his knee and crying until his mother kissed it better. About the first time he saw snow and thought the sky was falling. Lyra listened. She did not respond emotionally, but she listened. Your species experiences much suffering in the early years, she said. Pain, fear, confusion. Why do you not engineer these things away as we did? Because the suffering teaches us, Tejo said. When I fell and hurt my knee, I learned that my mother would always be there to help me. When I was scared of the dark, my father taught me to be brave. The hard times showed me who loved me. He served her a bowl of kimchi jjigae. It was his mother's recipe. Simple, but delicious. Red and spicy and warm, Lyra looked at it with uncertainty. I do not know how to eat for pleasure, she admitted. Close your eyes, Tejo said. Do not think. Just taste. She took a small bite. Tejo watched her face. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then her patterns flickered. Just slightly. A tiny change in color. It creates a sensation, she said, in my mouth and in my chest. I do not know what this sensation is. It is the beginning, Tejo said. That sensation is the seed of feeling. They ate together in silence. When they finished, Lyra stood up to leave. Same time tomorrow, Tejo said. Why are you helping me? Lyra asked suddenly. You gain nothing from this. If you fail, nothing bad happens to you. If you succeed, you save a species that has treated humanity with coldness. Why do you care? Tejo thought about the question. It was a good question. My grandmother was a nurse, he said. She spent her whole life helping sick people. Most of them she never saw again. Some of them could not even say thank you. I asked her once why she did it. She said that humans are connected. All of us. When one person suffers, we all suffer a little. When one person heals, we all heal a little. He looked at Lyra with warm eyes. Your people are suffering, he said. That means I am suffering too. I cannot feel complete happiness while billions of beings are dying. So helping you is also helping myself. That is what empathy means. Lyra stood very still. Her patterns moved in strange new ways. I do not understand, she said. But I want to understand. That is enough for now, Tejo said. Wanting to understand is the first step toward feeling. She left the room. Tejo cleaned the dishes alone. He thought about the long road ahead. Teaching someone to feel was not like teaching them to cook or to speak a language. It could not be done in days or weeks. But he had seen something today. That tiny flicker in her patterns. That moment of sensation when she tasted the food. It was small, but it was real. Maybe, just maybe. There was hope for the Velans after all, and if a simple man from Sol could help save an entire species, then perhaps humans were more special than they ever knew. Weeks passed on the Hanyul station. Tejo and Lyra met every day in their small room. They cooked together. They talked together. Sometimes they just sat in comfortable silence while music played softly from the speaker. Progress was slow. Very slow. Tejo tried everything he could think of. He showed Lyra videos of puppies playing. She analyzed their movement patterns. He played her beautiful music from Earth. She measured the sound frequencies. He told her funny jokes. She asked him to explain why humans made strange sounds when something was amusing. You are still thinking, Tejo said one evening. He was frustrated. You cannot think your way to emotions. You must feel them. I do not know how to feel without thinking, Lyra replied. Thinking is all I have ever known. Tejo rubbed his tired eyes. He had been at this for 4 weeks. Other humans on the station whispered about him. They said he was wasting his time. They said the Velans were beyond help. But Tejo refused to give up. Let me tell you a story, he said. A true story. About my grandmother. Lyra sat back in her chair. She had learned that stories were important to humans. She tried to listen properly now, not just analyze. My grandmother was a good woman, Tejo began. She lived to be 92 years old. She raised 3 children. She worked hard her whole life. She never complained. She always smiled. His voice grew softer. When she got sick, I flew home to be with her. I sat by her bed every day. I held her hand. I told her stories about my life in space. She loved hearing about the stars. She said she wished she could see them up close. Tejo felt tears forming in his eyes. He did not try to stop them. On her last day, she looked at me and smiled. She said, Tejo, I am not afraid. I have loved and been loved. That is enough for any life. Then she closed her eyes. She squeezed my hand one last time, and she was gone. Tears rolled down his cheeks. He wiped them away with his sleeve. I cried for 3 days after she died, he said. I could not eat. I could not sleep. The pain was so heavy, I thought it would crush me. But slowly, the pain changed. It turned into something else. Gratitude. I was grateful for every moment I had with her. The pain taught me how precious she was. Lyra was very still. Her patterns moved in strange, slow waves. "You are leaking water from your eyes," she said. "Yes." Teho nodded. "I am crying. Does it hurt?" "Yes and no," Teho said. "The tears release the pain. They help me carry it. Does that make sense?" Lyra thought for a long time. "No," she said finally. "But I want it to make sense. Something unexpected happened then." Lyra's patterns changed color. They went from cool blue to a soft purple. She looked at Teho with her deep black eyes. "I feel something," she said. Her voice was different. It had a slight tremor in it. "I do not know what it is. It is uncomfortable, like pressure inside my chest." Teho leaned forward. His heart beat faster. "That might be sadness," he said gently. "Sadness for my grandmother. Sadness for my loss." "But I did not know your grandmother," Lyra said. "Why would I feel sadness for someone I never met?" "Because you feel connected to me now," Teho said. "My pain has become a little bit your pain. That is empathy. That is what we have been searching for." Lyra stood up suddenly. Her patterns were pulsing fast now. Different colors flashed across her skin. Purple, pink, soft gold. "This is overwhelming," she said. "I do not know how to process this." "You do not process emotions," Teho said. "You experience them. Let them flow through you. Do not fight them." Lyra sat back down. She closed her eyes. For several minutes, she was silent. Her patterns slowly calmed. The colors settled into a gentle mix of purple and blue. When she opened her eyes, something was different. There was a light there that had not existed before. A spark of something alive. "Your grandmother sounds like she was a good person," Lyra said. Her voice was still flat, but there was warmth beneath it. "I am sorry she is gone." Teho smiled through his remaining tears. "Thank you," he said. "That means more than you know." From that day forward, things changed. Lyra began to feel small emotions. A tiny burst of joy when she tasted good food. A spark of curiosity when she learned something new. A warm feeling when Teho smiled at her. She learned to name these feelings. Joy, curiosity, warmth. Each one was small. Each one was precious. Teho taught her a Korean word that had no perfect translation in any other language. "Jang," he said. "It means the deep affection that grows between people over time. It is not romantic love. It is not simple friendship. It is something more. It is the bond that forms when two people share experiences together. Good and bad. Happy and sad. The bond becomes part of who they are." Lyra repeated the word carefully. "Gang. We have gang now," Teho said. "You and I, we have shared meals. We have shared stories. We have shared tears. We are connected." "I believe I understand," Lyra said. "This connection is why I feel calm when I am with you. This is why I look forward to our meetings. This is why your pain became my pain." Teho smiled. "That is Jang." That night, Lyra returned to her quarters. She stood in front of her mirror and studied her own reflection. Her patterns still held traces of the new colors. Purple and gold among the usual blue. She thought about her people dying on her homeworld. For the first time, she did not think about it logically. She felt it. A heavy weight in her chest. A burning in her eyes that she had never felt before. She was sad for them. Truly sad. Not because logic said she should be, but because her heart told her to be. A strange thought came to her mind. If she could learn to feel after 10,000 years of emotional silence, maybe others could too. Maybe her entire species could be awakened. The humans had something that the Valons had thrown away long ago. They had hearts that could break and heal. They had souls that could suffer and grow. It was not weakness. It was strength. The greatest strength in the universe, and one simple human man was teaching her how to find it again. She looked at her reflection once more. The patterns on her skin pulsed with gentle colors. For the first time in her 200 years of life, Lyra felt truly alive. The Velen High Council was not patient. They sent messages to Lyra every day. They demanded reports. They wanted results. When Lyra told them that she was making progress, they did not believe her. Progress cannot be measured in feelings, the council said. Show us the Caliph levels. Show us the data. Lyra knew they were right to be worried. Her people were dying faster now. Every day, thousands more fell to the plague. Time was running out. But she also knew that emotions could not be rushed. They grew like plants. Slowly and naturally. Forcing them would kill them. The human method requires time, Lyra explained to the council. I am beginning to produce small amounts of Caliph. If you give me more time, I can produce more. The council was not satisfied. We have discussed alternative methods, they said. Human scientists believe that Caliph can be extracted directly from human brain tissue. It would require only a few human subjects. The cost would be small compared to the benefit. Lyra felt something hot rise in her chest. She did not recognize it at first. Then she understood. Anger. You cannot do this, she said. Her voice was sharp, loud. The council members looked at her with surprise. Velans never raised their voices. Commander Lyra, you are showing signs of emotional contamination, the council said. Perhaps you should return home for treatment. I am not contaminated, Lyra replied. I am awakened, and I am telling you that you cannot harvest humans like crops. Caliph only works when it is given freely. If you take it by force, it will be worthless. How do you know this? The council asked. Because that is its nature, Lyra said. Caliph comes from love and connection. You cannot steal love. You cannot force connection. If you harm these humans, you will destroy any chance of saving our people. The council was silent for a long moment. You have 2 more weeks, they finally said. If we do not see significant results, we will pursue alternative methods. The connection ended. Lyra stood alone in her quarters, trembling. She had never spoken to the council that way before. She had never felt such strong emotions before. It was terrifying, but it was also wonderful. She went to find Tejo. She needed to tell him what had happened. She needed his calm presence. But when she reached his quarters, something was wrong. Tejo was lying in bed. His face was pale and covered with sweat. He was shaking. Lyra rushed to his side. What happened? Just a little sick, Tejo said weakly. He tried to smile but could not manage it. Caught a bug from the ventilation system. Human bodies are weak sometimes. Lyra felt fear, real fear. It was cold and sharp, like a knife in her chest. I will call the human doctors, she said. They already know, Tejo said. They gave me medicine. I just need rest. I will be fine in a few days. But Lyra did not leave. She could not leave. The thought of being away from him while he was suffering was unbearable. I will stay, she said. For 3 days, Lyra stayed by Tejo's bed. She brought him water when he was thirsty. She wiped his forehead with cool cloths when his fever was high. She talked to him when he was awake and watched over him when he slept. She did not know why she did these things. They were not logical. They served no practical purpose. The human doctors were taking care of him. He did not need her, but she needed to be there. Her heart demanded it. On the second night, Tejo woke up from a fever dream. He was confused and scared. Grandmother, he called out. Grandmother, are you there? Lyra took his hand. It was hot and trembling. I am here, she said softly. You are safe. Rest now. Tejo looked at her with glassy eyes. Then he smiled. You stayed, he whispered. Of course I stayed, Lyra said. We have Jang, remember? Tejo squeezed her hand weakly. Then he fell back asleep. His face looked peaceful. Lyra sat in the darkness, holding his hand. And she began to sing. It was a Velan nursery rhyme. She had not thought about it in 200 years. Her caretaker unit had sung it to her when she was newly born. She did not even know she still remembered it. The song was simple and strange, but it felt right. On the 3rd day, Tejo's fever broke. He woke up hungry and tired, but alive. You sang to me, he said to Lyra. I heard you singing. Lyra felt embarrassed. It was another new emotion. It was foolish, she said. Velans do not sing. You do now. Tejo smiled. The station doctor came to check on Tejo. She was a young woman named Park Sumin. After examining him, she looked at her scanner with a puzzled expression. "Your caliph levels are very high," she said to Teho. "Higher than I have ever seen. Being sick usually lowers them." Then she scanned Lyra. Her eyes went wide. "Commander," she said slowly, "you are producing caliph. Not receiving it, producing it. Your own body is making it." Lyra looked at her hands. Her patterns were glowing with warm colors. Gold and pink and soft orange. "That is impossible," she said. "Velens cannot produce caliph. The data does not lie," Dr. Park said. "Whatever you did these past 3 days, it worked. You have awoken something inside yourself." Teho laughed. It was a weak laugh, but it was real. "You did it," he said to Lyra. "You learned to feel. You learned to love." Lyra did not know what to say. She looked at the man in the bed. This simple human who had shown her so much, who had been patient when she failed, who had shared his pain with her.
"How?"
she said finally. "We did it together." And for the first time in 10,000 years, a Velen smiled. The news spread across the galaxy like wildfire. A Velen had learned to feel. A Velen was producing caliph on her own. The High Council demanded that Lyra return home immediately. They wanted to study her. They wanted to understand how this was possible. Most importantly, they wanted to replicate the process. Other Velens came to the Haniel station. They were hesitant and afraid. They had heard stories about emotions, dangerous things that cause chaos and pain. But they were also desperate. Their families were dying. They would try anything. Te-Ho could not teach them all. He was just one man. But he had an idea. "You will teach them," he said to Lyra. "Me." Lyra looked shocked. "I am not qualified. I have only been feeling for a few weeks." "That's exactly why you are qualified," Teho said. "You remember what it was like to feel nothing. You understand their fear. You can guide them through the awakening because you just went through it yourself." Lyra thought about his words. He was right. She remembered how strange and scary the first emotions had been. She remembered how patient Teho had been with her. She could do this. She had to do this. The first Velen she worked with was a young scientist named Hannah. She was barely 100 years old. She was terrified of emotions, but even more terrified of dying. Lyra did not use the same methods Teho had used. Those methods were human methods. They did not fit perfectly for Velens. Instead, she created new ways. She combined Velen logic with human heart. She started by asking Hannah about her work. "I study the stars," Hannah said. "I measure their light. I calculate their distance." "Why?" Lyra asked. "Because the council told me to." "No," Lyra said. "Why do you like it?" Hannah was confused. "I do not understand the question. Like is an emotion. I do not have emotions." "But you chose to study stars," Lyra said. "Out of all the subjects in the universe, you chose this one." "There must be a reason," Hannah thought, for a long time. "When I was newly born," she said slowly, "my caretaker unit took me to the observation deck. I saw the stars for the first time. They were so many, so bright. I felt something then. I did not have a word for it, but I wanted to be closer to them." "That feeling was wonder," Lyra said gently. "It is still inside you. It never went away. It just went to sleep." Over the next months, Lyra awakened dozens of Velens. Not all of them succeeded. Some minds were too closed. Some fears were too strong. But many of them found their emotions again. Word reached the Velen homeworld. The plague was slowing down. Not stopping yet, but slowing. It was a beginning. The High Council changed their position. They stopped talking about harvesting humans. Instead, they asked for more human volunteers to come to Vila Prime. Teachers who could help the awakening spread. Humans came. Scientists and artists and ordinary people. They taught the Velens about music and cooking and storytelling. They taught them about love and grief and joy. It would take generations to fully heal the Velens. 10,000 years of emotional silence could not be undone in a few months. But the work had begun. On the day Lyra was to leave for her homeworld, she visited Teho's quarters one last time. She wore the formal robes of a Velen ambassador now. The High Council had created a new position just for her. She was the first empathy ambassador in Velen history. Tejo smiled when he saw her. "You look important," he said. "I feel terrified," Lyra admitted. "I must lead my people through the greatest change they have ever faced. I do not know if I am ready." "You're ready," Tejo said. "I believe in you." Lyra reached up to her shoulder. There was a small piece of her bio-armor there. It pulsed with soft golden light. She removed it carefully and placed it in Tejo's palm. "This is a piece of me," she said. "When Velens bond deeply with someone, we give them a part of our armor. It will always carry my warmth. It will remind you that we are connected. Always." Tejo held the small piece gently. It was warm against his skin. "Gang," he said. "Gang," Lyra repeated. The word did not feel strange on her tongue anymore. It felt like home. "Come back and visit," Tejo said. His eyes were wet. "I will teach you to make tteokbokki next time. It is spicy rice cakes. You will love them." "I will come back," Lyra promised. "And I will bring others. Velens who want to learn more about human ways." They stood in silence for a moment. Words felt unnecessary. Their bond spoke louder than any language. Then Lyra walked to the door. She stopped and looked back one final time. "Thank you, Tejo," she said. "You did not just save my life. You showed me that life was worth living." Tejo wiped his eyes. "Thank you for letting me help," he said. "You showed me that humans are more important than we ever knew." Lyra left the station and began her journey home. The stars passed by her ship like old friends. She was not afraid anymore. She carried human warmth inside her now. She carried hope. Across the galaxy, other species had conquered worlds with armies and weapons. They had bent physics to their will. They had defied death itself with technology, but humanity had done something none of them could replicate. They had taught an entire species how to feel. They had given the universe back its heart, and in the end, that was the greatest gift any species could offer. The Velens never forgot. For the rest of their history, they told stories about the humans. The strange, emotional creatures who laughed and cried and loved without shame. They called them the Teachers, the Awakeners, the heart of the galaxy. And whenever a Velen child asked why they should care about others, the elders would tell them about a simple man from a small planet called Earth, a man named Kim Tejo, who taught the stars how to cry.